So, we can all agree that Bill Maher's kind of dumb, right? Like, he's more concerned with being entertaining than he is concerned with being right. And even the way that he tries to be entertaining usually is just by punching down at people constantly. Well, let's go ahead and get into that. First of all, though, we got fan art. This is from a Nubian. It is one of the least cursed things a Nubian has done ever. Have your hammer. Disclaimer, the hammer has been used for violence. That's okay. I'm A-okay with that. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to the actual stuff. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. But with that said, here's Bill Maher, everybody, with his video titled, New Rule Gender Apartheid. What the fuck does that mean?
And finally, new rule, if you're out protesting for a couple of hours wearing this, you have to go all the way and spend an afternoon running errands wearing one of these.
So wait, if you advocate for the rights of Palestinians, that means you have to dress in religious garb, like burqa, outside, irrespective of your own religion and how comfortable it may or may not be? Bill, that doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think the Islamic faith is right. And I agree that there are a lot of countries that are predominantly Islamic that would violate the human rights of several fucking citizens. Like, I don't know, Iran. And I even recognize that there's nuance in the topic when you consider that Iran is one of the few countries that is actually openly supporting Palestine right now, despite their many fucking social shortcomings. Billions of them, in fact. However, wanting innocent civilians to be able to survive without being bombed does not mean that you should go and just convert to that religion. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I can advocate for the rights of people that I care about who happen to be Christian, pagan, or what have you, and not want to be any of those religions. Tain't very hard. It's called having empathy.
You can't side with the people who ruthlessly oppress women without at least getting a taste of what you're supporting.
I mean, it's so... You realize that you're not supporting a side by saying innocent civilians shouldn't be killed in refugee camps. That's not supporting a side. That's just being a humanitarian. That's all that is, Bill. I don't see how that's funny or makes any sense at all. It's easy to make jokes like that from across the pond, but generally speaking, no. Advocating for people to be able to live and survive without being bombed should be pretty easy without needing to fucking convert. It's just the fact that so many people are cheering confused me there. Didn't this guy used to grift that he was on the left?
Well, now that summer is here and the Hamas-backing college protesters have dispersed back to their summer internships at Goldman Sachs, I thought it might be a...
What? Is it just supposed to be funny because there are people who are in college that have money? What?
good time to say this. I actually admire your youthful idealism, and our world would be poorer without it. Much like your parents, who just wasted 300 grand on that ignorance factory you call a college.
So now we're just against people getting an education. And that's all we are. Oh, okay. Sure. Is Bill the Glenn Beck of the center right, since he's at most a cinema left? No, I think Bill is just a clown.
Not that I think it's your fault being this poorly educated and morally confused. That takes a village. Shitty schools, overindulgent parents, social media.
Oh, I see. We're just doing the whole, this is a product of everybody having too much money. Katya says, oops, got a jet sadly. Bill's indeed a clown. Take care, everyone. See you, Katya. This is just Bill doing the whole dumb thing where he gets to say, yeah, no, going to college to better yourself is a bad thing. Like, no, Bill, the problem with college isn't that it provides an education that you disagree with, because if more people went to college, they would know not to listen to your shit. The problem is not that. The problem is college being unaffordable. That's the problem. There's nothing decadent about merely wanting an education.
That priest who rubbed lotion on you. But 3 cheers to you for at least having the impulse to seek a cause and something bigger than yourself. It's just that the one you picked, you missed the boat by a fucking mile.
So wanting innocent civilians to not be slaughtered is missing the boat by a fucking mile? I feel like I've lost the plot here.
But here's the good news. You want a cause? Because I totally got one for you. Apartheid. Yeah, apartheid, the thing you've been shouting about with Israel for months. Never mind that Israeli Arabs are actually full citizens. You learned that...
You understand what an apartheid state is, right? It has nothing to do with Israeli Arabs. It has to do with people who are in the Gaza Strip or in the West Bank being considered separate but equal to Israel, with their own laws and their own government and everything, but having less support, especially on the global stage. That's what apartheid means. It is the act of being apart from. You can have an apartheid state and still have citizens within the borders of Israel that are Arab. That's what? Does he understand these things? I assume he understands these things. He's just being very stupid so that his audience knows what to laugh at.
Word from a 2 Chainz song and discovered that protesting South Africa's apartheid in the 80s was a righteous cause, and so it was. To this day, when celebrities are asked who is the person they most admire, one name is always the safest choice.
Nelson Mandela.
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 Okay. What's the joke? Guys in my chat, I need y'all to tell me what the joke was. I didn't understand it. I need it explained to me like I'm 5.
So naturally, when you heard that Israel was an apartheid state, it gave you such a boner, you literally pitched a tent.
Ha, penis joke.
You knew how wrong it was when tens of millions of South Africans had been treated like second-class citizens just because of their race. But here's the thing, today...
I'm fairly certain that African apartheid had some to do with race, but not all, right? Let me see here. Any type of system of institutionalized racial segregation that exists... Oh, apartheid was a system of institutionalized racial segregation that existed in South Africa from 1948 to the early 90s. Okay, fair enough. But apartheid, as a definitional thing outside of that, doesn't always have to do with race.
Right now, hundreds of millions of women are treated worse than second-class citizens. When you mandate that one category of human beings don't even have the right to show their face, that's apartheid. And it goes...
That's not how apartheid works. That's not what that word means. It's discrimination, it's sexist, but it's not apartheid. That's... Okay. You can say that it is wrong. You can say that it's sexist, but apartheid has to do with that segregation. That's not what that is. Burqa is just a religious thing that some women wear that is typically mandated by their husbands or by the Quran. And that's just the burqa. Hijab is also in that category, but hijab is just literally dress code. That's not saying it's okay or I agree with it. I disagree with it. I don't think that there's anything feminist or liberating about wearing stuff that is entirely designed to strip away your own individuality. However, apartheid, that is not. It is just sexual discrimination.
On in a lot of countries.
Also, this is just whataboutism. Like, the fallacy he just did is whataboutism. Oh, you don't like apartheid? What about Islam, the religion? Like, well, I disagree with Islam, the religion, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Palestinians, the civilians. Their religion doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't look out at a college protest, and when the National Guard comes in and starts shooting, I don't start sifting through the bodies to see which ones are wearing crosses to go, yep, that one fucking deserved it. Like, no, I don't do that. I don't care. A body's a body. A civilian's a civilian.
For the last couple of years, women in Iran have been saying, take this hijab and shove it.
Hey, Palestine is not Iran.
Because in 2022, a young woman named Masa Amini was arrested for wearing her
Did he deliberately mispronounce it there? It sounded like he did. Like, that sounded a lot like deliberate mispronunciation. Anyway.
mandatory hijab incorrectly and then died in police custody. And now security forces have killed over 500 people protesting her death and this obvious human rights violation. How about defunding those police?
So how are we supposed to do that, Bill? Would you like to provide us an example of what to do to make that happen? Because I fully support defunding those police. I fully support stripping power away from those authorities. Would you like to explain how to do that to everybody in the class? Maybe that would help a lot. Because otherwise, you're just doing whataboutism, textbook whataboutism, for what? For giggles? For likes on the internet? Riddle Lighting says, is this just a dumber version of, well, do you announce Hamas? This is more words and less wit to do you denounce hummus. That's all this is. More words, less wit, and just utter stupidity. Also, yeah, the thing with defund the police, as much as I disagree with a lot of the ways in which it ended up being utilized, like, oh, let's just get rid of law enforcement entirely. Like, no, we're not getting rid of law enforcement entirely. That wouldn't make any sense. We have a society. That means we need to have some way to keep that society from eating each other alive. But I need to mute that tab. We need to mute that tab there. But one of the issues that Defund the Police tried to bring up was, why do we pay taxes to a group of people whose job it is to protect us and instead only have interests that are aligning with capital? Why do we give money to an organization whose interests only align with people who already have fuck tons of money and can't get shit done for us? There are people who have rape cases in the police right now that are just sitting on shelves, unsolved, and will never be looked at all because it got submitted and then nobody wanted to fucking care. And that happens with a lot of cases with the police right now if you are not a priority. And guess what? If you're watching this video, you're probably not a priority to the police, generally speaking. So one of the concerns brought up for defunding the police is, why is our money going to that ill-equipped, ill-funded, ill-gotten environment? Now, how do you expect we are to manage not giving money to Iran? How are we supposed to do that? How are we supposed to prevent our tax dollars from going there? Oh, wait, they don't go to Iran. Not in the same way they go to the fucking police here in the United States, Bill. The entire point of your, what the fuck do you even call this, entertainment, seems to be take a bunch of ignorant know-nothings and see if we can get them to laugh at dumb shit that if you take a minute or two to listen to, you recognize as dumb shit.
Amnesty International says that Iranian authorities are waging a war on women that subjects them to constant surveillance, beatings, sexual violence, and detention. What P. Diddy calls a hotel stay.
I guess it's funny if you care about celebrity gossip.
In Iran, Me Too isn't a movement. It's what a woman says when another woman says, my life sucks.
Is there any substance here, or is it just saying joke after joke after joke? I don't think I can watch this. Not because it's making me angry, but because it's a joke aimed at a different target audience, and I think my problem is I need most of these jokes explained to me. Because Me Too, like, it requires you to only know about these movements and these organizations and these countries by name and nothing else. He said, what, these are jokes? Yeah, it's just jokes. Now I'm just depressed. If there's anything else of substance in that video, let me know in the comment section below, and I might go back to it. But as of right now, that's about all I can handle. There was nothing of worth there. So jokes so bad even the laugh track forgot to laugh? Ugh. I'm just imagining the audience sitting there looking at the sign as it turns red and goes, laugh! And just wondering whether or not they should. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Apologies for this video being a downer, and not for the usual reasons my videos can be a downer. Mostly because it was just kinda stupid. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.